Hello, everybody. My name is Miguel, a retired Marine Gunnery Sergeant, and I'm here to tell you guys a little bit about where I actually started from, where I came from, and what my career actually made me into what I am today. So where am I going to start? Okay, I'm going to start from the beginning. That's where I'm going to start and everything else. So where did it all start? What I can remember is growing up in Mexico. This was around 1982. Okay, I was already born in 1977. A couple of years had gone by. Around 1982, my memories really start back when I had that age. I was 5 years old. It's funny how you can remember some things from many years ago. But those memories that I have of my grandma and my grandpa living at their house in Juarez, Mexico. And no, I'm not related to anybody in the mafia, so everybody's thinking that and everything. So, get your mind off that. Then out of nowhere, this man showed up. He started spending every single day with my mother. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who this person was. All I knew is that I wanted him to go away. That was the first time that I actually met my father. Being a typical young child, I didn't want nothing to do with him. I didn't want him near her or anything like that. And after a while, he stuck around there and I couldn't get rid of him. But so soon we ended up moving to the United States. How that happened, I'm going to leave that out of the story. Maybe later on we'll talk about it. Next thing I know, I found myself living in Kansas. I didn't know what that was. I was just used to Mexico. I didn't know where all these different states in America were. But I will learn here very quickly. Come to find out, my dad, he was in the Army. I know, right? The Army? Really? I'll get a little bit interesting later on as we talk a little bit more about what happened in my life. Well, here I found myself, a five-year-old kid that was taken away from everything that he knew. And I was expected just to deal with it, start a whole new life. Eventually, I was enrolled in school in this whole world that I was thrown into, but really had nothing to do about or didn't know anything about this world. But here's the deal. Hello, I just came from Mexico. I didn't speak a lick of English. But here we go. I found myself sitting in a classroom, not saying a damn word to anyone because I have no clue what the heck they're saying. Eventually, I guess my teacher got concerned about me just sitting there and not saying anything to anyone and never asking any questions. Finally, she was informed that I didn't speak English. And that was just a small little detail that my father had neglected to tell anyone when he enrolled me in this new school. Small detail, right? And what I remember is that I was placed in a class for about an hour. Being a young kid and everything else, I was kind of excited to meet new teachers. But this one happened to be a very cute one. So I was excited to spend every hour with her every single day. And what can I say? I was almost 6 years old and I already had the ability to actually determine what eye candy was. We'll talk more about that later, though. But anyway, let's get back to it. As the time went by, I started to pick up English and I started to be able to talk to all the kids in the school, almost as if I had known them from the beginning, from the get-go. So that became my primary language. Years went by, and the old life that I had left in Mexico was nothing but a memory. Then on June 22nd of 1984, my brother was born, and so I wasn't the only child anymore. So here I am having a little brother now. Eventually, we ended up heading back into Mexico around 1985. By that time, myself and my mother were actually able to go into Mexico and come back. I'll leave that up to your imagination. But let's think about it for a second. Here, I had been speaking English for the last 2 years, and I had almost forgotten how to speak Spanish. I see, muy gringo, right? Yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to speak a lot of Spanish. And if I do, I'll translate it for you guys, so that way you guys can learn some Spanish. And who knows, maybe I'll just do everything in Spanish and let you guys figure it out. So anyway, back to it here. So when I got there, back to Mexico that is, all my cousins, my uncles, aunts, my family were like, what happened to this kid? He doesn't speak Spanish anymore. All he speaks is English, and they couldn't understand me. Okay. All in all, these couple of years were interesting time of my life since my life changed and so much that I was learning now how to actually live in America. Okay, now, these are just a couple of things that I can remember from back in the time when I was in Mexico. Next time, we're going to continue with the next couple of years and how it was growing up and actually being an Army brat. Well, this is it for now. This is Gunny telling you guys enjoy a great Liberty Call, and until next time.